and now we're gonna do the. I got one set up for today. And this is a movie that it's like a nature documentary. But I've seen it a lot. We're gonna try and reenact it. I used to watch it all the time, like probably like my top five most watched movies ever. Um, Top five most watched movies ever for me. But I haven't watched it in a couple years, so we'll see how it goes. All right. Well, this it's a nature documentary. Actually, it takes place with a lot of water nearby because it's kind of an aquatic movie. Um, and the movie starts with this drunk girl on a beach, and also this drunk guy, and they're at a bonfire, and they're like sitting across the bonfire, and the guy's sitting up on a hill all like shy, and the girl like walks by him and like cat calls him like, "Hey buddy, come with me," and they start running, and they start trying to skinny dip, and the girl's taking off all her clothes, and the dude's so drunk that he's like passed out now, so he's like passed out right here. And the girl's like all naked, and like if you like pause at a certain point, you can see nipple while she's swimming. She starts swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming, and like she's out in the water, and all of a sudden like she bobs, and she's like, "What?" And like, "Woo, woo, woo, oh no, oh no!" And like she tries to grab onto the buoy, and then she like disappears, and it just shows the drunk guy on the beach like, "Oh, I'm super drunk," and then the scene ends. And if you don't know what movie it is yet, then I don't know where you've been living. Anyways, then we meet the main character, and his name is Brody, and he's like the police chief on the island. It's Amity Island in New York, and it's like I'm pretty sure the movie's like 100% nonfiction. I'm pretty sure it's a historical documentary. I'm not sure like for sure though. And he lives there, and he's like the police chief and everything. And one day they get the report of finding a dead body of a drunk girl, and they're like, "Oh, she got chopped up by a boat propeller." And then they go to an autopsy, and they're all like, "Oh, maybe it's a shark." And they're like, "No." Or no, they don't do the autopsy yet. They do the autopsy later. But he's like, "Maybe it's a shark." And they're like, "No, it can't be. It's 4th of July weekend. We can't close the beach." And then, and then it's 4th of July, and this little boy starts going out and swimming, and his mom looks like a total dweeb, and he's swimming, and all of a sudden there's a shark. There's the little boy, and he's out swimming, and he has a mom with black hair, and she looks real weird. She looks real weird, and he's like swimming along, and all of a sudden, all of a sudden there's the fin, and you're like, "Oh no," because it shows all the people's feet. Like, okay, this is the shot that they show all the time. It's all the people's feet, and you just see like it's like, first off, who the hell swims in like 40 feet deep water? Like, that is just ridiculous. It shows. I never understood that about this movie. It shows all these people, and they are swim. The camera is going way underneath them. Like, they're swimming in at least like 20 to 40 feet deep water. Who does that? First off, okay. Anyways, so this kid is swimming, and all of a sudden, just he gets shark attacked, right? And like everyone starts freaking out, and they're like, "Oh no, shark in the water!" And everyone runs out, and then the woman's looking for her son, but her son's like gonzo, and Jaws like swims away. Jaws is missing now, and everyone's freaking out. And then Brody's like, "Oh man, this is bad. This is real bad." So then they have a town hall meeting, and everyone's there, and they're talking about like getting whatever, or like they need to hunt down the shark. And then they hear like the woman shows up, and she's like, "I'm putting a $5,000 bounty on the shark's head." And Brody's like, "Okay." And then there's chalkboard screeches in the background. There's a really shitty shark drawing with like a fin on its head, and Clint is like, "Oh, if you want to catch a shark, I'm your man." And then he's like, he just talks about sharks for a little bit, and then everyone's like, "Oh, this guy isn't messing around." But anyways, then everyone goes out, and they're all bombing the water and shit, and Brody's like, hey, this is bad. They shouldn't be bombing the water. And then there's the mayor, and the mayor's like, "We need to kill this shark before 4th of July. And then this dude shows up, Matt Hooper, and he works at like some oceanographic institute, and his family's really rich. and he's like, hey, I'm the dude from that I got sent here, and he's like, oh, thanks for coming. And then he's like, hey, you go tell those guys they need lifeboats or life vests, and he goes and tells these guys, and they don't listen. And then, yeah, all these people go out hunting, and yeah, that's it so far. We're getting there. So after the whole bounty thing, there's like these two fishermen, and they go on this dock, and they're like, "Oh, we're so gonna catch this shark," and they like throw a tire in the water, and they're standing on the dock, and it's like real dark, and then like you see the tire like bobbing, and you're like, "Oh no, something's eating it," and then it starts pulling the dock, and it like Jaws is on the hook, and he pulls the whole dock off the land. And one dude like falls in the water, and he's like, oh no, I need to get out," and you see this thing like the fin come, and then it goes like somehow gets out, and he's like on land, and you see the fin go underwater, and the dude's like, can we go home now? And yeah, there was that scene. I really like that scene. Anyways, so Hooper and Brody, they're like, oh man, look at all these people and all these fishermen, and there's all these fishermen, and like, and they think they catch Jaws, and oh wait, no. They go and inspect the body. That's right. They go and inspect the body of the drunk girl. And where is she? No, not him. Her. They go. Wait, where is she? There we go. They go and inspect the body of the drunk girl because she's all dead and shit. And Hooper's like, he's freaking out because like the bite radius on this is enormous. And he's like, oh my god, you have an enormous fish out there. You can't let anyone in the water. And Hooper's like, or Brody's like, oh no, what do? The mayor won't like this. And then some of the fishermen are like, look, we caught, hold on, where's the fisher dude? Some of the fishermen are like, look, we caught this big shark. We caught this big shark. And it's like an okay sized shark. It's not Jaws. There's an okay sized shark hanging there, and they're trying to take pictures, and Brody's all happy, and Hooper's like measuring it, and then so one of the fishermen's like, what kind of shark do you think it is? And Hooper's like, it's a tiger shark. And this fisherman goes, oh, what? And yeah, and then they're like, we need to go measure the bite radius because I don't think it's I need to go measure the bite radius because I don't think it's the shark. He's like, okay, we'll do it at night. All right, so all these fishermen were like, yo, we caught this big ass shark. And he's like, what kind of shark was it? Or they're like, what kind of shark is it? And Hooper's like, it's a tiger shark. And they're like, oh, what? And then he's like measuring, and he's like, there's no way the bite size matches. And they talk to the mayor, and the mayor's like, well, or he's like, the digestive tract on this specific animal is incredibly slow. Anything it's eaten in the past 24 hours is still in there. And the mayor's like, I don't want you cutting it open and having that little boy's body spill out all over the pier, so you go and do it at night. And then Brody gets slapped by the mom of the kid because she finds out that like he knew that there was a shark in the water or something. Anyways, so that night, Brody and Hooper come over, and he cuts it open, and there's like a Louisiana license plate, and there's like white fish shit everywhere, white like stomach bile and shit. And they're like, it's not the fish. Oh no. So they like leave, and then everyone's just kind of chilling, and Brody is starting to get real drunk, and Hooper comes over, and he gives him more wine, and he like pours an enormous glass for himself, and he gets real drunk. And I should mention now, Brody hates water. He hates the ocean, and he lives on an island. And there's like some quotes like, why does a guy who hate water live on an island? He's like, it's not an island from the land, something like that. It's only an island if you look at it from the water, something like that, something weird like that. Anyways, then they go out on this boat, and it's like Hooper's boat, and find out he's kind of rich, and they're driving along, and they find this boat in the water, and he goes scuba diving, so he's down here scuba diving, and his head pops out, like this head of a dead body, and they're like, ah, and he like gets spooked and comes out, and they zoom in on his eyes, and like his eyes go really wide and shit like that, and they go up, and they're like, oh my god, those people are dead. And then they go back to the land, and then like 4th of July weekend comes, and everyone's about to go swimming, and that's when shit gets interesting. All right, so where were we? Okay, so it's the 4th of July weekend, and everyone's relaxing and shit, but Brody's like, he's feeling real on edge. And like, they keep looking for the sharks and whatnot. And like, there's one dude, and he's playing with his dog Pippin, and like, you see Pippin running into the water and getting shit and bringing it back, and everyone gets out of the water and whatnot, and the dude's yelling, Pippin, 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 and it's like, oh, Pippin got eaten. Also, this dog, Pippin, is also Spielberg's actual dog. Fun fact. Anyways, so then like, everyone's on the beach, and they're all sitting there, and no one wants to go in, and the mayor pretty much like, yo, dude, you better fucking get in the water to this one dude's family. So they all get up and they go in the water, and then they're all sitting there, and all of a sudden, like, there's this dude, or like, there's this dude swimming out there, and all of a sudden, all you see is the fins of this shark. Hold on, where's Jaws? Jaws mirror. You see the fins of this shark like rolling around in the water, and then it does the classic shot of Brody's face, like, oh my god. And that's the exact shot that the picture of Brody is. And then everyone runs out of the water. Someone's dead or something like that. Just usual shark shit. And then like everyone again is like, oh, we can't go in the water. No one in the water. And then like another day, a different little boy, and I think this one's Brody's actual son, and his name is like Michael or something, and they're like going boating or some shit like that, and they're out in the water and they shouldn't be there, and then this dude comes swimming up to them, and he's like such a nice dude. He's like, hey, you shouldn't be out here, guys. And then all of a sudden you see this shot of the shark underwater coming up to eat him, and he just eats him right up. And then like the boys somehow make it to land or whatever, and then Brody's like, all right, we got to do something about this shit. So then Brody, Hooper, and Clint, they all like team up, and then they like decide, you know what, let's fucking go out on the Orca, and we're gonna go kill this shark. So we'll leave on that cliffhanger. All right, so Brody, Hooper, and Clint are Hooper and Clint. They are now all aboard the Orca, which is Clint's ship, and it's not a big boat. They might need a bigger one, you might say. You know, hint, 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 hint. So they all go out, and they're all like on the boat, being the feuding. Like, there's Brody, he's kind of ambivalent about everything. And then Hooper and Clint fucking hate each other. Because, like, Hooper's like, oh, I went to school. And Clint is like, I don't need school, I'm just a tough sea hag. Shit like that. So they're all chilling on the boat, and they start fishing off. And they use, like, what do they use? They use, like, bluefish or some shit like that as bait. And they like, strap themselves. I'm, like, demonstrating with my arms. They, like, strap themselves into this chair. And they're fishing, and they're chumming the water, and like their fishing pole, like they throw it out, and they think he's like, oh, it might be a sailfish, like a sunfish or something like that, and they get this big ass fish, and it goes under the boat, and they realize, oh shit, it's Jaws, and it turns out, where's Jaws? So Jaws is like down here. Jaws is swimming around, and she goes under the boat, and they're like, oh shit, he goes under the boat. She's a smart one, because they thought she was stupid, because like, oh, she's swimming towards us. Anyways, it's like the line is smoking because of how fast it's going out. They're pouring water on it. And then, like, the line fucking breaks or some shit like that. I can't remember. And then they're all just chilling on the boat. And then, also, Jaws is swimming around, and they get what's it called? They shoot it with, like, a harpoon. And now there's, like, a yellow barrel attached to Jaws. So whenever it pops up, you're like, uh-oh, shit's about to go down. Like, that's like the little symbol that Jaws is nearby. Anyways, it somehow goes underwater with the barrel. That's how strong of a shark it is, because Jaws is fucking giganto, right? Anyways, so now they're all chilling, and it's nighttime, and they start singing this song, or they start telling the sea stories. Oh, I'll get into the sea stories soon. Ooh, those are good ones. So Brody, Hooper and Clint are all chilling on the Orca at nighttime, and they're all sitting there and they're all getting drunk. And while they're chilling there, they start telling these stories about their scars and shit. And like Hooper puts his leg up on the table and he's like, "Yar, look at this scar." And Clint's like, "That's a terrible impression. Don't do an impression of me again." Anyways, so and like Hooper's like, "Oh, the worst scar I have," and he points to his chest and he's like, "Cindy, someone or some chick stole or scarred his heart," some shit like that. And it's like, ha ha ha. And then Clint starts talking about how he was on like the USS Tennessee or Kentucky or Missouri or some other Mason-Dixon line state, talking about how they got sunk in World War II, and like how all these sharks were eating all the people around them and stuff like that. And then they start singing, "Show me the way to go home, bump, 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 I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Had a little drink about an hour ago and it went right to my head. Oh, wherever I may roam, bump, 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 land or sea or foam. You always hear me singing this song, oh, show me the way to go home." They get really boisterous and singing it louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the barrel pops up and you're like, "Oh shit." And then like Jaws like starts ramming the side of the boat and you're like, "Oh no, the boat's sinking." And then they all like, it like fast forwards to morning and then it's daytime and like the water's starting to flood the engine and Hooper, wait, is it Hooper? Yeah, Hooper starts calling for help on the radio and Clint's like, "No, you can't do that," and starts bashing the radio in. And then like they start shooting more barrels into Jaws, and there's like 4 barrels on him, and like he can still somehow go down, or like he can't really go down anymore. He can't go down for long. And they're like, "Oh shit, we got him where we want him." All right, so where were we? Oh, I forgot to talk about like the most famous scene in this movie. We have Brody, Hooper, Clint, and there's one scene where they're all walking around on the boat, and Brody is chumming the water, and he's looking over at his chums, and all of a sudden Jaws like pops up. He's like, "Hey guys," and he gets scared. Brody gets spooked and runs over. He like pops up behind. He's like, "We're gonna need a bigger boat." So that happens. Anyways, so now they have like a broken boat. There's like no engine, and then like they have Hooper over here, and like you got Clint working on the engine. You got Hooper over here, and the shit's all busted. And then like all of a sudden, like Jaws pretty much like starts busting it up even more. The boat's now sinking, and oh wait, I forgot about this. Hooper is like, "Oh, I'll go down and I'll tranquilize the shark." And they're like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he gets in scuba gear and gets in a shark tank and drops down. So now he's down in the water, and Jaws is like, "I don't like this," and starts bumping into the shark tank, and he drops the needle and he goes swimming down for it. So Hooper's then like down here underwater, and he's still alive. He's hiding under some some rocks, but they think he's dead. Like Clint and Brody think he's dead. So now it's just these two, and the boat's sinking, and then they're just chilling. And then Jaws just like jumps on the back of the boat and starts gobbling up Clint in like the most fucking horrific death of all time. And like he just gets gobbled up. So now Clint is a goner. He's gonzo. So now it's just Jaws and Brody. And he's like, "Oh my god, what do I do?" So the ship is still sinking, and he's like inside of the cabin, and he takes this air tank and he shoves this air tank into Jaws' mouth. So Jaws now has this air tank in his mouth. And earlier in the movie, they're like, "Be careful with that air tank, it can explode." Anyways, so the air tank is now in Jaws' mouth. And I think I'll stop here, and we'll finish it off next time. We just got to keep the tension at an all-time high, you know? We're getting into the climax, though. And I'll tell the ending of the actual movie, and then I'll also tell the ending from the book, because the endings are slightly different. The book is also slightly different. Anyways, so where were we? We had Jaws on bottom. Jaws was swimming around, and Brody was still alive. Hooper's down underwater, and Brody's still alive. And he's like, "Oh no!" And the air tank is in the shark. Right. So all of a sudden the boat's sinking. So Brody climbs up higher and higher, and the boat's sinking and sinking. Let's move Hooper out of the way. The boat's sinking, and Brody's climbing up, and he has a rifle, and Jaws is swimming at him, but Jaws is kind of underwater, right? And Brody keeps shooting and shooting and shooting and keeps missing, and he goes, "Fire, you son of a!" And then all of a sudden, there's this big explosion, right? Because he hit the air tank. The air tank exploded, and Jaws just like blows up into a bajillion pieces and flies everywhere. And he's like, now he's super happy. The Orca is sank. Like the Orca's pretty much donezo. Um, and they're all just chilling. And then Hooper swims back up to the surface, and they're like, "Oh, we made it." And then Hooper's like, "Quint," and Brody just looks at him, and he like goes like that, and they start swimming, and then that's the end of the movie. The book ends a little bit different. The book ends. Mute yourself. Mute if you don't want to hear book spoilers. The book ends with he keeps shooting and shooting, and shooting, and he runs out of bullets, and the shark keeps swimming, and he thinks that he's gonna die, but it turns out the shark died while it was swimming at him. I should have more views. Thank you. That means a lot. One more time, I'll plug. I made a Discord server for